Well, hello and happy 4th of July. It is yet another episode of our front yard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. This is episode 22 for 2024. Today is the 248th birthday of the United States, so we thought it'd be a good time to get out here and show off our garden. It's going to be a scorcher today, probably close to 95 by the time all is said and done. Right now it's about 85 and sunny, few clouds here and there, but there's a festive mood in the air, a lot of parades and so on going on around here, fireworks tonight, and so we're going to show off the garden. I made the decision to do this just a few minutes ago, and we'll start with our morning glories. I usually don't get out here in time. They've already started to wilt. They were out just a few minutes ago, and as soon as the heat and the sun get to them, they start to shrink down. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of morning glories. That's why they get their name. But we've got those growing up amongst the clematis that are covering our mailbox bed. The clematis, of course, are long since finished, but we've got morning glories kind of all over the place in this bed. Actually, here we go. We've got one that's still open. Hasn't quite gotten into the sun yet, so there we go. I wanted to show that off. I don't usually get a chance to do that. The rest of the mailbox bed is actually looking very festive, more so even than just last week. We've got a lot of vinca out doing very well. Now these are ones, if you've been watching our videos every week, these are ones that we had bought already grown at one of the box stores, Home Depot or Walmart or wherever, about 2 months ago. Doing great, giving us a lot of flowers. But we also have quite a few that are coming up from seed. We had a lot of vinca in here last year, and amongst the weeds, we got a lot of weeds growing that we need to pull, but the vinca are doing well. It'll be probably another month or so before we get flowers out of them, but by the end of the season, September, October, we should be just full of flowers here. And speaking of flowers, we've got all of our zinnias in bloom. These are all from seed. My wife Jenny, who you may have seen on some of our earlier videos, has had just a downright seed factory out on our back porch, and she's been growing zinnias and vinca and a lot of other things. So we've got a bunch of colors. We've got the sort of mustard yellow, light yellow, pink, orange, bright red, purple. It's one of the more colorful flowers that we have, and they will just keep getting bigger by the end of the year. They get a little out of control. If you've seen our videos from last year at all on another channel, they get to be about 3 or 4 feet in length, and they're just kind of all over the place. So they can be a little difficult, but they're worth it for the number of flowers that they put out. Now also, we have one single Asiatic lily here in the front bed, fully in bloom right now. So we're trying to enjoy that for a couple days because this will be over quickly. Also have some phlox that are doing extremely well, and they are peaking right now. So we've got a lot going on just in the mailbox bed alone. I tend to think of this as primarily a spring bed, but it actually is an all-season bed because we'll have the zinnias through the end of the year, and the vinca too. So it's always interesting to see. It's the one bed in the yard that is full sun all the time, every day. So it has kind of unique properties that certain plants do well with, certain ones don't. For example, we had a lot of pansies in there that were giving us a lot of flowers from really from January through last month, and they're pretty much done. They do not handle the heat very well. Now up here we have more vinca. This is kind of a random bed. We haven't done as much with this bed to maintain it. We've got this miniature knockout rose here. It really needs to be deadheaded. I just have not gotten around to it. But if we could do that, it would really give us more flowers than it has. But the plant itself is doing pretty well. Got one last petunia, or not petunia, but pansy doing okay there, but it probably won't last for long. Most of them just sort of wither and go away. So not a lot else other than vinca going on in this bed. Over here, we got a lot more going on. We get a little bit of shade here, as you can see, although in another hour, this will be in the full sun. A lot of color here, and so we'll go through that. Obviously, marigolds in the back. We just deadheaded those a few days ago, so they're fully in bloom. They've been doing really well. Really, for the most part, all they need is water, although they tend to do better and give you better blooms if you are able to fertilize them on a regular basis, which is kind of hit and miss here. Last week, I mentioned this flower. It's a very unique flower that comes from a bulb, and I don't need to tell you, as you look closely here, it's a favorite of bumblebees. They are really enjoying this. It's called liatris, and it gives you these long stalks of tiny purple flowers. It has a very interesting look to it, but it's a bulb. Goes in the spring or fall, whenever you like, and they come up and do typically very well. It's a really unique flower. We have some in the backyard as well. I was going to show that off last week, but I just couldn't remember the name of it, so I skipped it. And actually, as I look here, there's one bumblebee there. There are 4 bumblebees and a wasp on this one. So yeah, the big favorite with the insects. Here we have one of the prettiest zinnias that we've got in the entire garden. Blood red, absolutely gorgeous. We've got another one over here, all from seed. And then we've got our dianthus here. These continue to bloom. They're primarily a spring flower, but they've done very, very well. Got some weeds in there that we need to pull out, but we've got a lot of vinca coming up too. So again, towards the end of the season, we're going to be getting a lot more color in here, and then some vinca that have come up from seed. Just seedlings here this spring from the back porch, coming along very slowly, but doing well. Got some sedum over here. For the most part, it is done. Has a few little tiny yellow flowers on it, but it's not a big flowering plant. It's mostly ground cover. Got our coreopsis over here, still hanging on. It's kind of a spring flower, but it's still giving us some blooms really nicely. We've got our Russian sage here, giving us the beautiful long purple stalks. Kind of in the same way that the liatris does, but just a much thinner, more fragile, delicate version. And then our big climbing rose here. The plant itself isn't, well, actually it's doing better than it was. I was going to say it's not doing that well, although I'm seeing more and more new leaves coming off. It lost a lot of its leaves to black spot early in the year, but it's actually doing much better now, and it's putting out a lot of flowers. We have about 10 blooms on it right now, and they're that beautiful deep red color. And then as we continue across, we have another zinnia here, dahlias, phlox, some black-eyed Susans starting to bloom back in there, Shasta daisies. Back here we've got our climbing roses, not giving us a whole lot of blooms, but the plants themselves are doing okay. They lost a lot of their leaves early on due to black spot. In fact, this one on the right is completely leaf free at this point, but the plants themselves are doing okay. Got an Asiatic lily over here, kind of a unique color, this deep orangish brown, I don't want to say brown, but a reddish orange. And another one over here that's getting ready to bloom, some more coreopsis. Just a little of everything. And then over into the shade part of the yard, we have our, I'm blanking out, something that happens. I'm trying to remember every flower that we have. Hydrangeas came to me, fortunately. Pink and blue, but you can see now they're getting to the point with all the heat that the color is fading quickly. We have a couple that have just come out here in the last couple of days that are still bright in color, but most of them have faded pretty significantly. Again, it's a spring flower. It's done very well, but it's about done for the year. I'll show off our orange and lemon grove here. Our one orange tree just sort of grows, not really doing a whole lot of anything, has not even given us any blooms after 3 or 4 years. This lemon tree has given us blooms, but no fruit. I cleaned it off a couple of weeks ago. It's starting to get a few little shoots of new leaves. It had a parasite infection that was made it lose a lot of leaves, but I think it'll come back. And then I've gotten 4 small lemons this year. The key with these is to keep them well hydrated, which I have been doing. I have this hose that's on an extremely low setting where it's just putting out a few drops, enough to keep these hydrated so they're wet all the time. And actually they have been doing really well. Hopefully at some point in the year they'll put out some more buds. Maybe not until next spring, hard to tell, but they do give us some nice greenery around the front door. Otherwise, as we continue around this area, this bed otherwise is pretty well done. With snapdragons here, they're pretty much finished now. Primarily spring flower, kind of done now. Hostas, irises, mostly done. Flowers are pretty much finished up. We did have a hydrangea over here. Last week it was still kind of a bright purple color, but it's starting to fade now. Pink one over in the distance there, also fading. This is just not hydrangea time, but we have viburnum, azaleas, lots of things in this bed, but almost everything is very spring oriented. Still a handful of butterfly bush flowers here, not much left. And then our big knockout roses are, for the time being, they're done. If I can ever get around to deadheading them and cutting off all these big seed pods, they will bloom again. I just have not gotten around to it. This is a bed that really needs some work. I got out here and really cleaned this bed up a couple of years ago, and I didn't do it last year. I haven't gotten to it this year, but I will at some point, and I think things will start to look a lot better. We need to cut that butterfly bush back at some point. Again, it's something else we have not gotten around to. We'll finish up in the oval bed. Again, lots of vinca doing well. Some nice Asiatic lilies blooming beautifully. Nice purple dahlia here. Got some other dahlias that have finished up. Not really a whole lot else color-wise there. We have some monarda left over on this side, but not much. Most of these are done. They don't like the really hot weather either. They tend to kind of finish up by now. So they'll be done for the year. We have a few more lilies back in here, Asiatic and Oriental. I'm not good at the difference between the two, but either way, they're beautiful. And they're blooming for a few more days. This probably will be about the last week for those, although we've got more that are about to open up here. We've got these big knockout roses. Again, they've got a few flowers on them, but they need to be deadheaded to really thrive and give us more flowers. Big lily here with a giant bumblebee right in the middle of it, and more lilies here doing really well. Phlox kind of in the background over there, kind of hidden with everything else going on around it, but still doing well. And then back around this side, we've got more zinnias, sedum, some dianthus. Our daylilies that I've been showing off back in June are finished now. We just have some seed pods. These were absolutely beautiful. They gave us a fantastic show in June, very ornate, but they're done now. And that just about finishes up the front. So we're fully into midsummer now with with our summer flowers, and we're kind of shifting the tone of the yard now. From the beginning, it's been flowers that were largely in bloom just for 2-3 weeks and then finishing up. That's the nature of most spring flowers. Now that we're into summer, it's going to be more flowers that are going to just keep blooming, like the zinnias and the vinca, the black-eyed Susans, and some of the climbing roses, marigolds, things like that. So that's what we'll continue to see in weeks to come. But it's right about now, right about the end of June, early July, that we get that shift from the short-lived flowers like lilies and all the other things that we've had out in the spring to the more long-lasting summer flowers. So we're going to do our backyard garden in a few minutes and get these posted, and then we'll get inside before it gets too hot and enjoy some lemonade and some fireworks tonight. So hope it's sunny wherever you are, and until next time, happy gardening.